Hi, I'm Lois Beres at KZGN-TV, and this is Ridgecrest Talk. And today I'm talking with Dr. Anthony Damiano, a.k.a. Tony. Is that okay?
Sure.
And he's one of those remarkable people that I've mentioned so often that is very community-oriented and looks for problems that needs a fix and then goes help fix them. Right now we're going to talk about the China Lake Museum. That's the total name of it. China Lake Museum Foundation, which he is. Tell me your position on that.
I'm a member of the board of directors and also the vice president for publicity and public relations.
Oh, wow. See, that's why I didn't remember a long title. Important because you do a lot of stuff. That's great. And we're going to talk first about an event that they have planned that you probably have all heard about, but you need to know that it's coming up right away on June 4th. Tell us a little bit about that. What is it for? And
the annual dinner auction for the China Lake Museum Foundation is to both get people out and together, not only people from the base, but also the community, to hear about what we do and also see the wonderful items that we have that have been donated so that we can continue to raise money to bring the museum off the base and open it up to the general public so that they can see the technology that's been developed at China Lake and how it transitioned into the commercial world.
So we've used stuff that isn't just weapons out there.
Correct.
Okay.
The technology for telemetry systems, for stop-action video.
Really? I hadn't thought about that.
Yeah, we have a lot of firsts at China Lake.
That's so great. And we do an awful lot of things for, like he says, for the public, but also for our pilots and that sort of thing. And if you could go to that museum, you need to. It's fantastic. And we're trying to get it out on the world here, out on, say, China Lake Boulevard, so you can stop in and see it at any time. And we want to go into that a little bit, but I want to go a little bit more into the event. It's going to have, like you said, they have fantastic donations from people, and you need to consider looking, because if there's some neat things that you like, they might have them.
We have some Larry Zabels,
oh, really?
a local artist that
wow.
made it big in the art world, and also we have a rifle, a World War II lever-action rifle, World War I actually, the Golden Boy, and it's a centennial dedication to the that period of warfighters.
And that'll be up for auction.
That'll be up for auction.
Wow, you gun lovers, think about that.
We also have Jewelry to Go has made a beautiful red, white, and blue diamond bracelet. It's got rubies, sapphires, and diamonds.
I should just take that. But there's a way to get it.
Yes.
Yes,
we're selling tickets, one for $50 or three for $100.
Oh, okay.
And we still have plenty of tickets left.
But you're only doing a minimum amount, aren't you?
Only 200 tickets.
Only 200 tickets. So you've got a better chance than you might if it was sold to the general public.
Right.
And they could get those by stopping at Jewelry to Go, couldn't they?
Jewelry to Go has quite a few tickets left, and also at the museum, you can either stop there or call, and one of us will bring them out to you.
Oh, they won't. They'll help you get that. So if you want that, it's gorgeous. It's a full band of stones. I saw it the other day. It's just beautiful. And it's $50 for one ticket and $100 for three.
Correct.
So consider that if you've got a gift coming up you need for somebody really special, that would be it. That would be really special.
And this year we're doing a red, white, and blue theme, looking at our presidents from wartime, Truman and Roosevelt. And so these first two presidents in our list, as we go through, we're identifying all of the systems that were developed at China Lake under each of the different administrations.
Now that's interesting.
Yes.
And you're going to have it there where people can go at the auction or and see it?
You can go online and see
really?
At ChinaLakeMuseum.org, and you can
Did
also
you hear that? ChinaLakeMuseum.org.
And you can also contribute there to our building fund and to the keep the museum doors open.
Well, that's really important because this base has done such remarkable things, and I understood that every weapon that was used in the last, say, 40 years or so in a war,
70 years.
70 years
Yes.
have come out of, or at least through,
Yeah,
China
in
Lake.
Vietnam, over 70% of the weapons that were used in Vietnam came from development at China Lake.
And right now, if you go to the museum, you can see that, can't you?
You can see the different weapon systems that were used.
It's just amazing. And you keep hearing, when you see things on TV and they'll talk about the tomahawk and some of those things, hey, I know where that was built. And it's just so exciting. And that's a fantastic museum. If you haven't seen it, I'm going to say it again, you've got to see it. So last year you had a lady that was very famous doing ceramics. Is she bringing something back this year, do you know?
Oh, yes, we have a bowl of lemons.
Oh, really? Last year was like
Yes.
vegetables or something, wasn't it?
I have
Yeah.
the vegetable one on.
Oh, do you? You know about that one?
Yeah.
It's gorgeous, and she's like world renowned or very, very famous.
Yeah,
So.
she has items in the Smithsonian Institute.
Wow. And you've got one on your table.
I've got
you
one on
could
my
have one
table.
on your table too.
Yes.
So, okay, we're just about ready to go to a break, but we want to remind you that this event is at, where is
Kerr-McGee.
it? Kerr-McGee Center. What time?
Starts at 4:30 in the afternoon,
Oh, okay, 4:30.
and we hope to be done by 9. So all the
So it's not a
early
whole total evening, but a nice dinner and then
dinner and auction.
auction and good fellowship,
Right.
and you'll enjoy it. Cost.
It's $35 for one person and $60 for two.
Okay,
We also have tables of 8 that,
make a deal on them.
yeah.
If you want to call Tony, make a deal. We'll be back in about 2 minutes. We're going to go to a break, and then we're going to talk a little bit more about the China Lake Museum. Hi, you're back with Tony and Lois, and we're talking about the China Lake Museum. When we went to break, we were talking about the weekend that's coming up. We mentioned the famous, what do you call her? Ceramic type
ceramics.
potter, something like that. And he remembered her name, so.
Miss Betty Spindler.
And she has stuff in the Smithsonian, so it would be something that would be like something you could give to your kids, an heirloom that you could have if you got one of her pieces. And Tony says they're going to have an auction.
Right.
And how long does that take? I mean,
That's going to be probably about 2 hours, depends on the entertainment. And actually, Wallace Martin will be our entertainment for the night.
okay, what's he doing?
He's combining music and excitement and auction items that
how fun.
will get us all laughing.
That sounds so cool.
yeah.
So on the time deal for your event, you'll walk in and there'll be the auction, the silent auction.
We have the
Stuff will
silent
be
auction.
out.
You'll be able to walk through and look at the
And
silent
decide
auction
what you
rooms.
might like and then vote on it. And then if you find something you want to buy, you might stand there.
Yeah,
I
we-
did
we-
one time, I really wanted.
We have can auction where you buy tickets and put them into a
Oh, now
can and it
that's
gets
neat.
drawn.
Okay.
And then this year we're doing accelerating things a little. We're going to have time limits for the different tables for the silent auction.
Oh, okay.
That way,
Yeah,
as we
'cause
go
that can
through,
drag forever.
that can take a long time.
But it can get you money too.
Yeah.
But, oh well, that's neat
And
though.
then you'll also be able to see the live auction items will be on display.
Oh,
you'll
so
be
you can
able
go
to
over and say, I want one of those,
Oh,
and you
yes.
can touch it and feel it. And,
Yes,
oh, that's
absolutely.
cool. And are you going to do the auctioneering?
No, Wallace
No?
Martin will be our
The guy,
auctioneer.
is he?
right.
He's not your entertainment guy. He's your.
No, he's
both.
He's an auctioneer. He's a licensed auctioneer. He does that professionally,
Oh,
as
okay.
well as he's on base. He works in the business development office. So
Oh, that's cool.
he's
So he knows what
very
he's talking
educated.
about then, because he's been around it.
Well, I collaborated with Wallace with many other people on the base before I retired, and Wallace put together a lot of effort on himself to put arming the fleet together. which is available on Amazon.com. It's also available at the China Lake Museum.
Is it a book or a CD?
It's a book.
It's a book.
And you can also get it in a CD.
Oh, neat.
Yeah.
And so if you go out to the museum gift store,
Right.
it would be there in book or CD.
Right.
Oh, right. And he did that.
And he did that.
Oh, that's awesome.
We've also got, and because it was developed by the government with taxpayer money, it was open to freedom of information, and so we have rights to reproduce that book.
Oh, that's great.
And it's a really good gift for people interested in the history of weapon systems and also China Lake's involvement with the warfighter.
I'm always telling my family that doesn't live here all the nifty things that this base has done. That would be a perfect gift.
Oh, absolutely.
Here, take a look at it. You know, that would be.
Right.
I may have to go get one of those.
Right.
And that's by Wallace.
Wallace Martin,
Okay.
put it together, and he also put together, which you can see online, the Firsts, China Lake Firsts, which is another book that pamphlet that we put together, and also, you know, China Lake has really had to compete with other government facilities.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
And so we have Wallace put together a book on our capabilities, our test capabilities.
All right, guys.
And so
that is great.
That really opens us up.
And you can send this when you're applying for something to do some weapon or something.
Right.
Show the senators or whatever.
Right. You can see what our capabilities are, and right now a lot of the work we do is. Because we have such a large land mass and we're not encroached upon by the general public.
Correct.
And so we can do large detonations out in the ranges and not worry about hurting anyone.
Right. That's so cool. And then that new airplane's out there too, isn't it?
The F-18, the E8.
E8 or something, the new one, yeah. I knew it had an 8 in it.
It's a growler.
Oh, it's the growler. And I can hear it from my house when they start it. It's loud. But it's so cool, and that's going to be what? Is it going to be like an all-service or a Navy?
The growler is an F-18 frame with electronics countermeasure capabilities.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
Yeah, it's eventually going to replace the EA-6.
Okay.
The Prowler.
100 years ago, my husband worked on that EA-6 too. So Wallace is going to do a lot of stuff for you. Besides writing all these things, we're going to have any of those there to sell, maybe at the.
We can look at that.
That's a possibility if you had really wanted one, or maybe make a trip to the museum and pick up your tickets there and your books or whatever,
Correct.
and then you'll be ready because you'll know what's going on out there.
Right.
And what else has Wallace done? Stuff that we really need to know about.
Well, Wallace has done fundraisers in Bakersfield, not just political, but for different foundations and organizations that.
I've heard his name a lot, so I knew that he's a pretty good guy and a great auctioneer.
Yeah, he volunteered his time with the Siracosa Community College Foundation, Denim and Diamonds. He was our auctioneer for that too.
Yeah.
And a lot of us were laying on the floor laughing.
That makes it such a fun evening. Besides, you might get to buy something that you really, really want, and maybe at a deal. I don't know. You can hardly tell, but that is so great. And we have a lot of talent here in Ridgecrest, don't we?
Absolutely.
It's just amazing. And that base is our bread and butter for the most part, and we've got to support it. We're going to talk a little bit more in just a little bit about moving the museum off base so that you folks that don't have immediate access to the base will be able to just drop in and take a look. And that'll be happening, we hope, in the near future.
Yes, but before the end of the year.
No kidding, that near. Oh, that's great. I thought it was like next year or something.
No.
We'll talk a lot more about that in the next segment. But we've got Wallace doing the
we've got the Marine Corps Color Guard from Barstow at 5:45.
Oh, really?
We'll have singing of the national anthem.
All right. We're going to have time for that then, huh?
Yeah.
I love it.
Absolutely.
Okay, guys, we're going to come out in about 2 minutes and we'll talk about the rest of this good stuff for Saturday night. We're back. Thank you for staying with us because we've really got some good information for you. We want to talk a little bit more at the end about Saturday, but in the meantime, we want to talk to you a little bit about the place that our museum is. Right now it's on base, and these good people that are a part of the China Lake Museum Foundation want to get it out into town so that we can all just drop in it. Anytime your relatives show up in town, take them to the museum. And we've been doing this for what, 4 or 5 years you guys have been working on this?
10 years.
Only 10 years, okay. And now we're getting to almost a point where it might happen. Tell me a little bit about what you think.
I believe it is going to happen.
Isn't that great?
We have sufficient money saved to go forward with putting our initial utilities, power and water, potentially laying the fiber or the pipe for the gas that we'll need later on. But initially, our facility will be 2,888 square feet.
Not as big as what you've got now.
No.
Okay.
Right now, we have 8,200 square feet of displays, and we're integrating slowly interactive displays.
Oh, wow. I like
so
those.
that young people can come in and see, and even adults looking at the walleye with a history since 1965, was used in the first Gulf War.
To do what?
To attack targets. It's the first of the TV camera type
that they could
weapon
see
system.
out to their
The pilots
target.
can actually see the target as the weapon system goes to it, so they know
You know,
exactly
we see that
where
on
it
TV
is.
all the time. We think it's always been there, but it
Yeah.
hasn't.
No, it hasn't.
Oh, isn't that great? And that was done at China Lake. That
Correct.
is so cool. So if you get all that done, then you got to have some more money to put up walls. Is that right?
Right. What we're doing now, we've applied to, and Miss Laura Hickel has been wonderful. She is retired from the Sierra Sands School District. Her last 10 or so years, she's been writing grants.
Wow.
She wrote a grant for the high school.
Oh, that's a real talent.
The science and engineering building that was
Oh, and
built.
look at that. That's gorgeous.
And so she's very in great demand. And so we sat together in a class about 2 years ago now, and I asked her if she would help us, and she said, yes,
All right,
I should
that's
be helping
great.
you.
Yeah, she should be. She's a
and so,
community-oriented lady also.
Yes,
Oh,
and so
that's
looking
great.
at the what was available in grants, she looked into California museums, and we found she found that the California Cultural and Historical Endowment Museum grant program, administered by the California Natural Resources Agency, had exactly the type of grant that we would qualify for.
Isn't that great?
And so the grant is up to $250,000, and it's a matching fund grant. And so since we have the money to match, that money would then go a long way to not only put this facility in place, the first phase 1, but then go a long ways to starting into phase 2. Phase 2 will be a 10,000 square foot building.
Then you'd be a little bigger than you are, quite a bit bigger actually than where you are right now.
And by doing that, we'll have some of our exhibits and gift shop in the smaller facility. Then eventually, which I believe the gift shop will move into the larger facility. But
great.
then we'll also have room for storage and build up of new displays.
In a workroom sort of situation or something.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
Oh, that's great. That you need all of that to keep that up going.
And
you think maybe by year end you might start break ground or
yes,
something?
I'm sure we will. In the next month or so, we'll know if we got the $250,000 grant. Since there were nearly 60 different grant applicants,
Wow, for that money.
And May 3rd, 3 of the judges for the distribution of the grant came to China Lake, and we, on base, we had a display. We had the mayor attended, and many local supporters of the China Lake Museum.
That's what they need to see, isn't it?
That's right. And we also, our foundation director for the building committee, Wayne Doucette, did a presentation. Dr. Bob Smith took the visitors through the museum and explained a little bit about it, the technology. We believe so.
I'm impressed every time I go in there, and I've seen it like a dozen times, but it's just a very impressive place.
It is.
And if you get it out there where it's more available to the rest of the world, that's fantastic.
And we'll be right across the street from the library and next to the Maturango Museum. We're looking really at the synergy developed by having the natural history and resources for children, but then also rocket science and how the science and technology that's used in weapon systems is also transferable to the general public in commercial applications.
Fantastic. That is just what needs to be seen out there, and that's what they do. They take kids through there and tell them, that makes them excited about maybe going to that thing as that particular talent as a professional.
And Dr. Bob does rocket science classes for young people, and he
at the museum.
At the museum,
Oh,
he teaches them the basics of the science needed for rocketry, and then they do water pressure bottles, and they launch
Actually make
these
their
things.
own rocket?
They make their rockets and
How
parachutes.
fun. Oh, wow, with good supervision. That's awesome.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that is so neat. So this museum, other than just going and looking and saying, wow, what a neat display, it's there for growth. It's there to help your children. It's a fantastic thing that we have here in Ridgecrest. And these guys, the China Lake Museum Foundation, are trying to get it closer to you. So think about giving them some money if you don't go to the
dinner auction
on Saturday, June 4th at 4:30.
4:30
at
the doors
Kerr-McGee. It
open.
opens at 4:30, but dinner will be later, somewhere around
6.
6 or so.
Right after colors.
Colors will be at 5:45.
5:45.
Okay, and
right.
then.
And then we'll start dinner.
And we're going to have the national anthem. We do have time for the national anthem, don't we?
Yes.
That is so awesome. And one of our local ladies,
Mrs. Sanders.
Mrs. Sanders, is going to sing the national anthem. And so it's also impressive and so laid out so perfectly. So think about getting your ticket and going to the auction on June 4th. And there's plenty of parking, plenty of everything. So just plan to be down there at Kerr-McGee whenever you can, somewhere between 4:30 and 6 o'clock, and you can have dinner. And we're about through. If you have any questions, call somebody at the museum, or just plan on being there and going and seeing it. Thank you for being there with us.